always interesting to sit and listen to an introduction where your career is being discussed. The truth of the matter is, in my heart, I'm the kid that my family calls Albie. My colleagues call Albert, and my students call me Dr. Lee. But at the core of it all, I'm really Albie. As a classical musician and opera singer to be specific, I'm usually afforded the opportunity to perform music of some of the greatest composers and the words of the greatest poets to ever live. In this medium, as the keynote speaker for such an amazing occasion, welcoming the class of 2020, welcoming new and returning faculty, welcoming the new dean of the College of Liberal Arts, welcoming a new crop of graduate students, as I prepared these words, I found myself challenged. What could I possibly share with this group to send you on your journey ahead, empowered, inspired, and equipped? I wrote down a proverb in my journal that is always a source of inspiration for me. I wrote down 2 other phrases that could be centering thoughts for my remarks to you today. In the end, when I asked myself what I would share, the reply I finally got last night around 9 p.m. was this: the answer is you. Now, before I go any further, I'd like to ask a favor of the class of 2020. My Snapchat account is Albert R. Lee, and if you would, for me, take some pictures and take some videos and tag me in a few snaps. Could you do that for me? Appreciate you. Because we're in an academic environment, I can't go any further without giving credit to the author and inspiration for the thought, the answer is you. Michael Bernard Beckwith, the spiritual teacher and author, teaches a series with this statement as its title, but I want to go in a different direction. I'd like to begin by telling you about my summer. By all accounts, it was one of the most memorable of my life. I gave 6 performances this past summer, 2 of a personal nature and 4 professionally. I'd like to share 3 of those performances with you this morning. And before I proceed, I'd like to preface what I'm about to say with this. What I'm going to share might be a little heavy. My students have gotten used to me hitting kind of hard, and I figured I would just sort of warm you up to UNR and just kind of toss you into the deep end and see who can swim. If you would hear my heart, I think you'll find a few nuggets to take along the way. You see, class of 2020, you are entering college at a tumultuous time. Together, we will have the opportunity to be a part of selecting the next president of the United States. Together, we will have the opportunity to select members of Congress, and together, we will have an opportunity, if you're registered locally, to weigh in on the direction of public schools in Washoe County. It is a phenomenal time to be here. I believe that sitting before me, sitting before us, is limitless potential, untold possibility, and the unfolding of a level of greatness that UNR has never witnessed. Class of 2020, the answer is you. The first performance I had this summer was at the wedding of a dear friend just outside of Washington, D.C. Now, I've been singing weddings since I was 6 years old. This shouldn't be a big deal. But this wedding was quite different. I was singing as the couple to be married was processing down the aisle. No pressure. And the couple that was getting married happened to be 2 men. Now, I grew up in a conservative Christian home. I am a member of a church that can be conservative in some of its teachings. And here I was singing as a gay couple entered. The father of one of the grooms said on several occasions leading up to the wedding that he was not coming and he was not interested in being a part of such foolishness. You may ask, why on earth would he share this story in this setting? I share this with you because if you look very carefully, there is a message for your journey ahead. You see, the nervousness and the discomfort that my friend's father felt, that even I felt for that matter, is no different than what some of you might be feeling right now. You're away from home, in a new environment, around new people. You will be in classes with strange teachers, living close to people who live differently than you lived in your house and where you're from. But what I learned at that wedding is a lesson that I want you to carry with you along this journey. Instead of running from discomfort, instead of avoiding challenges, instead of bowing out in the face of fear, I admonish you, I implore you, I beg of you to see the lesson in the uncomfortable moment. Ask yourself, how can I grow from this experience? What is life trying to teach me in this moment? You may not get an A in every class, but you will be stronger, wiser, and better if you press forward. What I've learned along the way, and what was true in that moment, is that your gift will always make room for you. What you offer to this community is as important as the education you are seeking. The second performance that was significant this summer was on June 23rd. I was in the church where I grew up. My family was there. Several of my dearest friends were there as I sang the Lord's Prayer. I had performed this arrangement of the Lord's Prayer since I was in high school. But this performance was unique. I was standing in front of a casket singing at a funeral. The person lying before me was my brother. Why again would he share this story? Why would I share with you in this time one of the most difficult moments of my life where I actually had to perform and not simply grieve? I share it with you because between now and the time that you put on academic regalia similar to what we are wearing and walk across the stage to get your degree, you will have every reason possible to quit. You'll be able to come up with every excuse known of why you can't meet a deadline. But I stand here as your cheerleader and as your example that there is nothing that can ever stop you but you. Was I grieving? Yes. Was I hurting badly? Yes. Did I wish that I could have been somewhere else not facing the challenge at that time? Absolutely. Do I still hurt? Yes. But in this moment, and in that moment, I let my determination rise above my grief. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that you bury your pain. I'm not suggesting that you ignore your grief. But I want you to promise me and promise yourselves this one thing, that you will not take the path of least resistance, that you will not look for the easy way out, that you will strive at every moment to be your best, whatever that may be. The third performance I want to tell you about was in a small town called Rothenburg, Germany. I was performing an arrangement of Amazing Grace with the Nevada and New England Ambassadors of Music. And we were dedicating the performance to victims of terrorism in Nice and in Munich that had just taken place not many miles from that site. Despite that tragedy and our goal to provide comfort and healing, just a few days before this concert in a small village outside of Innsbruck, Austria, where I was also giving a concert, while doing a little window shopping by myself in the village, I was called a nigger and told to get out of town. They actually said it to me in German. Startled, angry, and uneasy in foreign surroundings, I found my way back to my hotel and I stayed there. I didn't want to go out, I didn't want to talk. Why, oh why, oh why is he sharing this story? Why would I share a story about being called a nigger by someone who meant it as a dagger through my heart and to violently demonstrate to me that I didn't belong there? Because I want you to know that each of us here have a role to play in either the eradication or perpetuation of racism, xenophobia, homophobia, sexism, ableism, and ageism. The night that I was called a nigger, there were a few people standing around. They said nothing and they walked away. On this campus, at this great institution, in this diverse environment, you will see things and hear things that stereotype, marginalize, and minimize. Will you come to the aid of one who is being marginalized by peers or even faculty, or will you walk away? Will you reject derogatory language when you hear it, or will you remain silent? Will you treat someone who doesn't look like you or doesn't speak English as perfectly as you do? Will you treat them as an outsider? Or is that person a part of the pack just like you are? Class of 2020, you have the power to shape and reshape this community. You are not here simply to get an education so you can get a job. That's what community college and trade school is for. You are here to open your minds, broaden your horizons, and find your place in the world in which we live. You know, in that moment of being called such a horrible word, and I know hearing it from my mouth may be even uncomfortable in this moment, I didn't want to sing. Not in that town, not anywhere in the German-speaking world. I told you earlier that your gift would make room for you. I've been in situations where my gift was welcomed, but I was not. I could offer songs, share my art, entertain the masses, but my humanity, my story, and my experiences were not necessarily welcome. Where my gift was used, but I felt discarded. I tell you now what I told myself then. You can't be anyone but you. You can't do anything but offer what you have. Give to the best of your ability and know that whether it's respected or rejected, that you can sleep well at night knowing that you have taken the moral high ground and that somewhere, someone was changed because your gift entered their life. Before I take my seat, I want to leave you with this. If you endeavor to be the best you, if you push past obstacles, if you can push your ego aside and ask for help when you need it, you will find that the person you are today will not be the person that walks across the stage and receives a degree. You will see the unfoldment of a you that you never dreamed existed. Embrace the uncomfortable, push past the challenging circumstances, be the presence that uplifts all, pursues justice, values equity, and you will leave UNR with not only a degree, but an experience that you will never forget. Now for the practical. On Monday, you will begin getting syllabi from each of your classes. Let me share with you what you're going to do. Yes, what you're going to do. This is your first assignment. There is no grade, and it will not be turned in, but I expect that it is done. You can ask my students if those expectations are real or not. The four that sang earlier can tell you the story. You will gather your syllabi and you will get a calendar. It can be a written calendar or an electronic calendar. You are going to begin filling in that calendar with every quiz, test, exam, paper, and major assignment that you have due between now and December. If it's a writing class and writing isn't your strongest area, you're going to back the due date up by at least 3 days so that you can take your paper to the writing center and get assistance. If it's a math or math-related class and you know you struggle, you will take some time with the material for that class every chance you get. You will not wait until you fail the first exam to ask for help. You will ask yourself, how am I going to get this done? You will do your reading before class and you will take notes. This is college. You must be an active participant in the learning process and not empty heads waiting to be filled. As I told you, the music students who are assembled know that I will walk up to you at any time in any venue and ask if you've done what I've asked. Am I being hard just for the sake of it? Absolutely not. I'm pushing you to your best. And in return, your best will inspire me, it will inspire the faculty, it will inspire your peers to strive to be their best. Can we accommodate one another in that way? Can we? Okay, listen, so I come from this kind of church where they do call and response, so when someone asks you a question, I need you to answer. Can we accommodate one another in that way? Thank you, that's the way we do it. Wolfpack, Michael Bernard Beckwith shared this in his message. Every problem you face is a question trying to ask itself. Every question you have is an answer trying to reveal itself. Every answer is an action trying to express itself. And every action, a way of life trying to be born. If you would be available to what this moment is offering you, if you would open yourselves up to every challenge, if you would step outside of your comfort zone to embrace different people, different experiences, new ways of thinking, and different ways of being, you will be the leaders of progress in this community and in this world. And you will be the greatest group that this institution has ever assembled. Wolfpack, the answer is you.